Okay, Colin, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We just decided to start rolling, and I've thought of the most random question that I could think of.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to ask you, and I want
Ask
you
me
to
the
answer
question.
me truthfully,
Okay.
without hesitation.
I might hesitate.
How would you feel if you walked into a house? What would your impression be, your first impression, if you walked into a house and every single light switch cover and outlet cover were painted neon green? Every single one.
Yeah. I would...
Didn't match the color scheme. Nobody talked about it. It was just normal. And you were like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's a bad vibe.
But why?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the kind of thing that would be in like an 8-year-old's bedroom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get whatever color light switch cover you want. Like, oh, I want lime green. I want neon green.
I want neon green.
To match my Dude Perfect shirt.
Oh, that's funny. I want it to look like slime. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that. Our light switch cover in the studio is blue because my brother was into like customizing stuff. And,
Yeah.
You know, he went
So
through,
I'm like right on with this.
yeah, he went through like a phase of like hydro dipping stuff,
Yep.
which actually his hydro dipped light switch covers are kind of pretty cool. Like he did one, he did a purple and white one, which I know white on white sounds kind of weird, but it kind of washed it out. It was really cool. It's in my closet if you want to see it at some point.
Yeah.
We'll
have to
do that later. But yeah, I was curious because I think that light switches are something that are just always white.
I've seen black.
I've seen black too.
Black's kind of cool.
Black
It's
can
like a
be
black
cool.
ceiling. It's like, whoa, that's awesome.
You're different. You're trendy.
Changing things up.
You're
Okay,
trendy
all
and
right.
different. That is so fun. I wish
you.
I was different. Anyway, yeah, that's what.
That's a good way to start a podcast. I like that.
Roll the music. I said it. I
You
said
said
it. I said it.
It'd be fun if I left all this in now too.
You
know?
can if you want.
I might do it.
You
It
do
might
what
happen.
you want. Roll the music. I said it again. You could do it there.
Or keep it going through here. you know?
No, we're done.
No,
we're done.
That'd be ridiculous. Welcome back to the Recap Podcast. I'm Colin. That's Ian. We are your hosts for your favorite podcast. And we have another episode, and we have something we forgot to talk about last episode.
Yeah, we did.
We've got a
Forget about
Facebook
it.
group.
Yes, we do.
We teased
Actually,
it at the end of last season.
Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember. But what's a more accurate way of saying it is you guys have a Facebook
Yeah,
group.
we don't own this thing. Someone
we
just
didn't
made
start
it. I don't even know who.
Dexter did.
I know. I'm teasing.
Oh,
I'm teasing you.
No. If you guys want to know the true identity of Dexter, he is the admin on the Facebook group. So
His name's not actually Dexter. That's the
go
trick.
check it out and you will see who the real Dexter is.
His address. I'm just teasing.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know it.
I don't know it either. And I'm like his friend.
Yeah.
But that's, do you have to know somebody? I don't know your address.
No.
Do you
know where
mine?
I live? No. No.
No,
No.
you don't.
I don't.
There you go. I
know
mean, I know.
I know the street. I don't know.
Right.
the number.
I don't know the street you're on.
That's awesome.
I don't know the neighborhood you're on in.
I don't know if my neighborhood has a name.
Oh,
I don't know.
you're just like neighborhood of.
Just like random street.
That's funny. Anyway, yeah. So we have a Facebook group. It's active. Well,
It exists.
it exists. It hasn't been active since June 3rd.
That's because no one really knows about it.
Right. It's kind of our fault, but
For not.
it's a
promoting it.
great place to like interact with each other, to interact with us. Like we'll be
Throw some memes in there.
We'll be
I
active
don't know.
on there. Yeah, throw
Do
some
something.
memes. Like use this shot here. That was
I really hope that becomes a meme.
and
That'd be
make
great.
it a meme. That would be hilarious. Yeah, a couple of like famous members of the show are in there.
real.
Dexter's in there for one. Tate is also in there.
I'm in there.
Colin's in there. I'm in there.
true.
Yeah, so we just thought we'd mention it. It's called it's called Dexter's of the Recap Podcast. And then it
Yes.
has like our logo and stuff on there, and it's pretty easy to find. And so far there are 5 members. Should we see who the members are? Can we see that?
I think you just named 4, so let's see who you missed.
Oh, I missed my girlfriend or my fiance.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. Not no more. She ain't.
Yes, she is.
Not after
She's
that.
my fiance.
I'm just teasing.
Anyway, yeah. So go check it out. Dexter's of the Recap podcast. Give
Join
it a
it.
join and
Whoever
interact. Ask
whoever
questions.
makes the best meme with that screenshot gets a
shout out.
I was gonna say
shout out.
T-shirt, but yeah.
We don't have T-shirts.
Next announcement, we have we don't have T-shirts. Not yet.
We don't have merch. But would you guys buy merch if
Once
we
we
made
have what number should we put on our Instagram followers for T-shirts?
1,000?
1,000. Okay.
I think
If
1,000.
we get to 1,000 followers, or if we feel like it,
Or if
we'll make T-shirts.
We'll make T-shirts. Maybe hoodies. Maybe beanies.
Beanies.
Dude, actually, like a black beanie with the logo, not in blue, but just like black and white with the logo would
That'd be a
actually
vibe.
be kind of cool.
I would really buy a gray T-shirt with like a cartoon of a duck that says "Feed the Ducks."
Yo,
That would be a good one.
guys,
We
should
can make
do
some
merch?
fire merch.
Should we do merch? That would actually be hilarious. We could make a series, a merch series of every episode's name.
Interesting.
It would be stupid, but we started
Some
a
of them would.
podcast.
Some of them would be good.
Some of them would be kind of good. Like everything's a salad. Just have like a big
like a bowl with just everything in it.
just like a big like pork chop on it. Just says I'm a salad.
I'm a salad or a hot dog.
A hot dog.
I'm a salad.
Yeah. Would you guys buy merch? Let us know. Because I think that would be pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, go check out the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Give it a join. Interact with us. We will interact with you if you interact with us. We've always said that from the
That's
very
been our
beginning.
motto.
If you guys give to us, we'll give back. And
You
we
get out of this podcast what you put into it, and
That's so true. Nothing has ever been more true. When we get questions, I threw up that question thing today, and you guys responded to it, and it was awesome. And like when we get questions, we get hyped because we're like, no way! Now we have something.
people
to talk
listen to this
about.
podcast. People follow us.
People actually care about
That was a
what
great
we say.
segue into our question segment.
Yeah, it was. I did that on purpose.
Didn't even look like you were going to use it, but I
did that on purpose.
I had to push it back at you to be like, hey, use that opportunity.
Yeah. No, I was always going to use it.
Okay.
I'm trying
You
to figure
leaned
out
back like you were done. You're like, that's
No, I leaned
that's
back
an
because
episode.
I'm like redoing my mic setup
For
here.
real.
Okay, so yeah, guys, I threw out a question poll thing on Instagram today,
Mhm.
and you guys came through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's
It's a lot for 75 people,
yeah.
and I don't know how many people who saw it. Should we see how many people saw it? Let's take a look here.
Take a look.
37 people saw it.
So that's just under a sixth of people.
Look at that.
That's like on YouTube. People will be like, so only 5% of people watching this are subscribed.
What's
You
up
see
with that, guys? What's up with that?
Only a sixth of the people that saw our story responded.
What's up with that, guys?
Do
What's
better.
Up with that?
I'm just teasing.
What's up with that? Anyway, okay.
Thanks for those
so
who did.
we are going to start with some of the more surface level.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it. Some of the more surface level questions, then we're going to get into some of the maybe a little more intense
So we're starting with
ones.
like the what's your favorite colors, and we're ending with the what's the meaning of life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And yes. Okay. So first question comes from...
Are we name dropping? Did we do that last time?
I don't know if we did last time, but I'm going to. Okay, let me know if you guys like shoot us a DM and let me know if you guys know if I've said my fiance's name on the podcast, because I don't think I have.
I don't think you did. Well,
So I'm not going to. She asked a question on here, but I'm not going to say her name because I think it's kind of fun that you guys don't know her name. We're gonna have her on sometime, and
yeah, I don't think you said her name last time, and that would have been the only time you would have. I think.
well, I've talked about like my
Yeah.
girlfriend,
Yeah. But
and
I
now
think-
she's my fiance, and I didn't say her name last week.
right. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
Just to
so
remain
the first
anonymous.
question comes from her. Okay. And I didn't know this, but she informed me through the Recap Podcast Instagram. Happy National Cheeseburger Day.
I did know this.
Okay. So her question was, where do you get your cheeseburgers?
That's a really tough question for me.
I know it is. I know it is.
It's funny. The same place I found out it was National Cheeseburger Day
Oh, really?
from is the place that I got my cheeseburger from today.
You got a cheeseburger today.
And that's from good old McDonald's.
It makes sense to get
50
a cheeseburger.
cents for a
What?
double cheeseburger with the app.
Quarter pounder?
No.
Oh, bummer.
But
Quarter
they got
pounders are
other
the
deals that
best.
are honestly better than the 50-cent one.
Oh,
But
you
I
did the
had to
50
do
cent.
it because
It's
it's
National
National
Cheeseburger
Cheeseburger Day.
National Cheeseburger Day. What are you gonna do?
That's my
Not
go-to.
Get a cheeseburger.
I also like Culver's.
Yeah.
Pretty much any restaurant does good burgers, and most
That's
people.
true. I'm more of a chicken guy when it comes to Culver's and McDonald's. I like the nuggets more than the burgers, unless I get like a double quarter pounder with only cheese and ketchup on it, which is
That's
so
an interesting
good.
choice. I guess you don't like tomatoes though, or pickles.
No, I don't.
Wow, it must be a tough life,
No,
especially
it's
for
great.
for burgers.
It's great.
They're just so boring, though.
No, they're so good, especially double quarter pounders. I
Do you
used
get
to,
onions?
no. It's just more like I would eat the onions, but it's just more of a hassle to just say like.
But they come with it. But I see if you're saying just cheese,
Yeah, I say just cheese and ketchup.
because
And
you're
then
to the
they
point
have
where you're not taking stuff off. You're telling them what to put on.
Exactly.
It's faster that way.
Exactly, and they have to make it fresh, which is hype.
Do they?
Yeah, because the burgers that they put out like are all condimented and
Sure.
wrapped and, or in this case, boxed.
Right.
And like set to the side so that like the idea is that you can go fast.
Right.
But
So
when I
because
do
most
that-
people get everything.
Right. So when I do that, they have to make it fresh.
I usually do no mustard if I order with the app. If I go through the drive-through, I'm just in a hurry. I'm
Yeah.
just like, whatever you want to give me, just give me.
Yeah.
But with the app, I'm like, okay, I'll customize the crap out of this thing. And
for sure.
I usually go no mustard. And that must be the same thing, I guess. Make it fresh.
Yeah.
I've heard the ask for unsalted fries trick,
Yeah.
but then I have to resalt them myself.
And
when I
why
get
would you
home.
ever do that? And,
And
the
it doesn't
fries
stick.
taste
It doesn't
good.
stick as good.
The fries taste
The problem is
good.
they're cold a lot of times. If you
Oh, really?
do drive through and take it home, I learned a trick
Oh.
though.
What?
Bring like a Walmart or Target bag, and you can seal it in that,
Oh,
and it stays warm.
interesting. Why don't you just eat it?
In the car?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like to eat in the car. I feel like I can't enjoy it as much.
Interesting. I ate canes in the car the other day.
Was it a struggle?
I didn't enjoy it that much, but I was so hungry that I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I tried to eat the coleslaw, but that didn't work. 'Cause I had to
So
it
what'd
with
you
a
do with it?
fork. Just didn't eat it.
Waited till you got home?
I just didn't eat it.
You just threw it away?
Yeah, it was coleslaw.
Gotcha.
I usually sub the coleslaw for an extra piece of toast, but I didn't.
just didn't
order
feel
it.
like
I
it.
didn't order it. So
Oh.
anyway,
What's your go-to burger?
yeah. So I usually get chicken at McDonald's. I usually get chicken at Culver's. A place that I love the burger from, as far as like fast food goes, if we're picking fast food, would be Wendy's.
What a dumb statement.
What? Dude, the Baconator is so good.
You know what? It's probably a hot take, but I don't really like bacon on cheeseburgers.
Oh, that is a stupid take.
Well, you're the one who likes Wendy's more than McDonald's or Culver's for burgers.
Yeah, I like Wendy's burgers. They're
That's dumb.
good.
No.
I don't know why you're coming after me right now.
Sorry.
They're good burgers.
I came in unnecessarily hot with that one.
Wendy's is an underrated fast food restaurant.
I would agree with that. But
Well, what do you like from Wendy's?
I like their burger. I'm not saying their burgers are bad. I'm just saying
They're way better than McDonald's like
what?
normal cheeseburger.
No.
McDonald's normal cheeseburger like is like an eighth of an inch thick.
But it's cheap.
That's my point.
It's so
gross.
cheap. Those aren't the same thing.
Okay, but they are in terms of McDonald's burgers. Cheap and gross.
No.
I don't want to get into a fight with you, Colin.
I don't want to end the podcast right now. But
I
you're just-
enjoy McDonald's. Not as much as you do, okay?
That's fine.
But
You don't
I,
have to.
I enjoy McDonald's.
You just can't
I
like
love their chicken
Wendy's
nuggets.
more.
I love their fries. They have great Coke. I love their quarter pounders. I don't
Quarter
like
pounders
their
good.
regular cheeseburgers.
That's fine. You know what? It's fine.
Okay. I do like Wendy's better as far as fast food cheeseburger goes. I would go with Wendy's.
Cool.
Moving on to the next question.
Well, thanks,
My word.
Ian's fiance, for ruining his podcast. That's cool.
The next question comes from our boy Peacock. You know who you are. Or should we just say his name?
I don't
You know
know.
who Peacock is? You don't? It's Micaiah.
Oh. Do we call him that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Sorry, Micaiah. I didn't know
Our next question comes from Micaiah. He's a friend of ours. And he says, because it's National Burger Day, what's the best restaurant burger you've ever had? Now, this is a different question, though.
It is.
That's why I let us go ahead with the first question. The best restaurant burger that you've ever had.
The best restaurant burger.
Okay, so basically just the best burger that you've had out.
Right. Do you want to go first? You got one ready?
I can't think of like the place I was at or like, but like when I go to a restaurant and they have, oh, actually that burger was so good. There's this place called Brick and Bourbon. I don't know if it's a chain. It might just be in Minnesota.
I don't know.
But they have a burger. I forgot what it's called, but it was so good. It was so good. It was like a barbecue bacon cheeseburger with, I want to say it had like an onion ring on it. So like almost like a cowboy burger, but or like a rodeo burger, but it didn't. I don't think it had an onion ring on it. And it was, I don't know, dude, but it was phenomenal. I ate it so fast.
So that's the one?
That would be probably the one that off the top of my head. And I usually do this with burgers. I get blue cheese with them. And depending on the restaurant you're at, sometimes they'll have like blue cheese crumbles and not like blue cheese dressing, which I would prefer blue cheese crumbles on a burger. And
I hate both.
They had that. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good.
Okay.
I loved it. My fiance got the plain Jane burger. That's what it's called. The plain Jane burger.
That's probably what I would have gotten.
I told her, I said, you can't get that. And she said, why? I said, it's in the name.
Okay, but you're the one who goes to McDonald's and asks for a burger with just cheese.
Well, I know, but it's McDonald's.
Yeah, but
it's not the same thing.
I feel like you can't get mad at someone for ordering the plain Jane burger when you specifically make your own plain Jane burger.
It's McDonald's,
everywhere
though.
you go.
I wouldn't do that at a restaurant.
What would you get?
Or at I don't know. You know what I mean by
Sure.
when I say restaurant, not at fast food.
So if you don't get tomato or pickles, what do you get if you're going to get stuff on it?
Bacon, barbecue sauce, cheese. I like onions on my burger, so I would do onions.
Onions are good.
I'm not a big
Onions
lettuce
too.
guy, and I don't prefer. I'm not a big lettuce guy on burgers. I like lettuce on like maybe like a chicken sandwich, but
Gotcha. We talked about lettuce last episode, but I'm the same way with it on burgers. It's like I don't care either way.
yeah.
You know, I would if I was making the burger myself, I probably wouldn't put it on there.
Yeah.
But I care so little that it's not worth the effort to take it off.
Yeah, right.
If
I
I
know
get
we
it.
talked about lettuce, but it just doesn't have a taste.
It's just
So it's like, why put it?
It makes
on
it feel a little bit more interesting. It's like, oh, more colors.
there? That's
you
true.
I don't know.
True. Anyway, that's my pick.
Okay.
Best burger you've ever had?
I'm-
Better not be McDonald's.
I'm not gonna say McDonald's.
Okay,
I won't
thank
say.
you.
I won't do that.
Thank
Just
you.
because I know you'll give me a lot of crap. But it's. I'm just kidding. I really want to say it now, but I'm a really big fast food burger person. I think I like
That's okay.
fast food burger more than like a sit down restaurant burger.
That is acceptable.
And my answer, if you've ever been to Smash Burger,
Yeah, Smash Burger's
that one.
good.
they have-
Smash Burger's very good.
they're fast food. They're a little bit nicer fast food,
They are
like fast casual maybe.
like moderate speed.
They're okay.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. Like Five Guys, moderate speed burger.
Yeah.
I would argue Culver's is moderate speed quality at fast food pace.
Well, I guess when I say fast food, it's not actually talking about how fast you eat your food.
Not how fast you eat it. How fast they prepare it and give it to you.
I'm not thinking of either of those.
Oh,
When I say fast food, it's just like,
drive-through?
yeah, someone that has a drive-through and it's just kind of not good for you food.
Yeah, I guess.
But I guess Culver's feels like a little bit more of a sit-down place. Maybe that's because for so many years it was like the after church go and have
Yeah,
lunch place.
Right.
So it doesn't really feel like fast food, you know?
Yeah. I think Culver's just has like really good quality food.
I mean, it's definitely fast food, but it
Yeah.
just doesn't feel like it.
Agreed.
Anyway, yeah, Smash Burger.
Smash Burger's good. Also Shake Shack.
I've never been.
Shake Shack has good burgers too. Anyway, but that's kind of the question. So there you go. There's our answer to that one. Micaiah also had a follow-up question,
Yeah.
and he said that you cannot pick McDonald's. It's in the question. Colin can't pick McD's.
For the last one?
No, for this
Oh,
one.
for the coming one.
Follow-up question. What fast food chain has the best burger? I feel like we kind of answered this
Micaiah, you're just wrong. That's the thing. Like,
do you really think it has the best burger, though?
well,
or just like...
I think when I say best, I'm not necessarily referring to just best
Just
taste.
taste,
I'm
right.
referring to the entire experience. So the speed you get it, how good it is,
the price.
and the price,
Right.
all factored in. Maybe it's not the absolute best in the world when it comes to
Right.
taste, but I think it's up there. But in terms of the price, you really can't beat it.
How about taste? What do you think?
I'd say Culver's.
Culver's has good.
Culver's or Smashburger.
Yeah.
I've never been to, what are the two that are big in the South? In-N-Out and Whataburger.
Right, Whataburger.
I've never had either of those.
It's not
but
Waterburger.
no, Whataburger. Did I say water?
You said water.
Water.
Waterburger.
Well, I didn't mean to say
Whataburger.
that.
Anyway, I have never been
Go
to
back
either
and
of those
listen. I don't
either.
think I said
I
it.
really want to try In-N-Out because people freak out about it.
Mhm.
I have a feeling it's mid, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to try it.
It looks like a bad like A&W to me, like a
Really?
revamp of A&W.
A&W is very mid,
I love their root beer. I love A&W root beer,
but
but
their food.
their food is trash. Yeah, they're like trying to serve shrimp.
Now, honestly, I've only been to the one at the Mall of America,
Okay.
but so I don't know.
There
if
used
I
to
can-
be one like pretty near to us, the next town over, where you went to that other
Yeah,
McDonald's.
I got you.
I
It just
don't know.
is the
We're
next
trying-
town over.
You guys don't know.
We've
where
definitely
we live.
said. We've definitely said.
But there used to be one there. We used to go to that actually quite a bit. Did you come to that?
I don't think
when
so.
we used to do that? No.
I don't know.
Must have been my other best friend.
I don't remember much beyond like yesterday. So
Funny. Yeah, so my pick I think would be Five Guys as far as fast food goes. I feel like Five Guys counts as fast food. It's normally not drive-through.
what's funny is I've never been there.
Really?
Yeah,
That's kind of
I feel like every restaurant you talk about, I'm like, never been there. Never been
Yeah,
there.
You pretty much go to McDonald's.
I don't need other things when I have the best. Write that down.
Write that down. Everybody take notes. I
Take
don't need
notes.
other things when I have
When
the
you've
best.
found the best restaurant, you don't need to keep. It's like Ian. You don't need to keep looking for another girl because
No, I have the
you've got your
best one.
fiance.
I have the best one. Everybody
So,
else lost.
I don't need to
I have
keep
the
searching
best
for
one.
other restaurants because I found the perfect one.
Because you found McDonald's.
The perfect one for me, at least.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Very true. Very true.
All right, there you go. Five Guys, and he said McDonald's, but
So
if it
Micaiah,
wasn't McDonald's,
I don't want to.
But here's the
Just
thing:
hate on everybody
you
who
can
asks
say
questions.
Colin can't pick McDonald's, but at the
I'll
end
pick
of the
whatever
day,
the heck I want. It's my podcast.
we're sitting in front of the mics.
You start
Micaiah.
your podcast and you can decide what we can and can't do.
You know what would be hilarious is if two of you guys out there started a rival competition podcast called the Reset Podcast.
Ooh,
Or the
that's a great name, actually.
Reset Podcast.
Yeah.
Should we rebrand?
Let us know what you think if we should rebrand. It's the
We're not
Reset-
rebranding to the Reset Podcast. What does that even mean?
I don't know. What does the recap podcast mean?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
We actually do
What
know.
are you guys recapping?
Yeah, everybody says that.
So what do you recap?
So what do you recap? And we're like, nothing.
You know what? If I would have thought about that more before we made it, maybe I wouldn't have named it that.
What was another like potential name that we had?
We had
that
a really one that was like a really wordy, but it was like intentionally wordy.
Yeah. Do you
It was
remember
like-
any of them?
It was like the mildly entertaining podcast or something.
Yeah.
But it was like 3 more words.
Mildly entertaining, slightly confusing.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mildly entertaining, slightly confusing, two white guys in chairs podcast.
It wasn't that long, but that's a good name. If someone out there is looking for names, we've got them.
We could come up with good podcast names. We just couldn't do it for ourselves.
Right. If someone made a rival podcast, I think the way to go would be the recap podcast.
Oh,
where
and they just
every
recap
episode,
our episode?
they watch and react to our episode.
That would actually be funny.
We could create a second podcast where it's just like a commentary of our first episode.
Let us know if you guys
comes
want
out the day after.
Patreon where it's either just me or just Colin. We'll just steal the just Jake thing.
Yeah. Ghost Runners podcast.
Ghost Runners. Shout out. The only account that we follow on Instagram.
Other than us.
Well, yeah, you gotta follow yourself.
You got to do. You
Um,
know what's crazy? I was looking at the stats for our YouTube
yeah.
today, and I was looking at one of the episodes. I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
And it tells you, where all the views came from. So it'll be like directly searched or from the recommended feed, or And it'll tell you sometimes if someone else was watching a video and your video was like in the side next to it and they clicked it from that, what video they were watching, what happened. And it was the Ghost Runners podcast.
Really?
One of them, yeah.
Dude.
And I think it was because we had mentioned the name of it in that episode.
Ghost Runners podcast, Ghost Runners podcast, Ghost Runners podcast.
Every morning with Jake and Brad. Every Monday with Jake and Brad.
Every Monday morning with Jake and Brad.
We got to be there now.
You guys, if you listen, we would love to be guests on your podcast. You are the reason we started this. I mean, more or less.
More or less. I mean, when it comes down to it.
Without the recap podcast, we probably never would have
started. Without the Ghost Runners podcast.
My bad. Yes.
That's okay.
We never would have started the recap podcast.
I guess we'll never know.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, what's our next question?
Next question comes from Anne Auclair.
Okay.
Don't know who this person is, but
cool.
It's cool that she...
Yeah. I like when we have listeners that I don't know.
It's actually so fun.
We like the people we know too, though.
Her question was conspiracy, like with a question mark, like conspiracy.
Okay. So she wants us to. Well, the wording of your question was,
what do you want us
about?
So
she wants us to talk about.
The actual question was, what do you want to hear us talk about this week?
She wants to hear us talk about conspiracy.
Conspiracy? Well, you're in luck because we might do that next episode.
Well, I've got a little thing.
Oh, okay.
Just a little conspiracy. This is one I've been thinking about for probably most of the summer.
Oh, wow.
I want to hear your thoughts on it.
You haven't told me about it.
Yeah.
You're such a lousy best friend. It's for the podcast.
It's for the podcast.
Content.
Maybe this could be a recurring segment, just like our conspiracies. Here's mine. The dentist isn't good. Like my conspiracy is that the dentist doesn't help you.
Okay, what do they do?
Here's my theory. When they scrape your teeth, I think they're scraping the enamel off your teeth.
Oh.
And because think about it, how do they make money?
It's plaque.
How do they make money? When you go to the dentist and have to get dental surgery.
Right.
So my theory is they're making your teeth worse so that you have teeth problems.
Dude.
You go back.
I have the same theory about the chiropractor.
I have the same theory about a lot of things, like therapists.
Auto mechanics.
All these people rely
that lug
on
nut
you coming
off,
back.
baby.
And then, but think about the people, I feel like we all have an old person in our life that's I haven't been to the dentist in 40 years.
True.
I've never had a cavity in my life.
I haven't been to the dentist in a long time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't have any issues with my teeth. They don't hurt.
Yeah.
Or they function.
They do their job.
Who? Oh, one of my buddies, his name's Titus. He has a dying tooth.
What does that mean?
He chipped it quite a while ago, I think, and it has died.
Oh,
and so life is draining out of it. So it's losing its color, and it's getting darker. Not significantly. He doesn't have a black tooth.
Yeah,
but it's getting darker, and you can see it's kind of grayed out compared to his other.
That's
ones.
crazy. So did the nerve connection just get severed?
I guess something like that. It's
crazy. They could drill into it and he wouldn't feel it.
I don't know.
It dying? It's not dead. It's in the process.
Maybe
of
it's dying. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of interesting. Though.
So what's gonna happen? Is he gonna have to get pulled, or is it just gonna be like that?
I don't know. I guess it all depends on how. I mean, it's his adult tooth, so I guess it all depends on how much he doesn't like the
right.
The color.
I suppose if it's getting darker and darker, you might just have a completely black tooth.
Right.
And
at that point, you
get pulled and get a fake one.
Pulled. Yeah.
Where is it in his mouth?
It's his front right one or front left one. If you're him, it's your left tooth. If you're looking at it, it's his right tooth.
Got it.
I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a molar in the back, that wouldn't be at the end of the world. But
right. No, but that's a very interesting conspiracy about the dentist. I have the same theory about the chiropractor, where they're crack your back, and
because you think about it, there's a lot of people that
then you'll be
have
back.
never gone to the chiropractor in their life.
Me,
and then you've got the people that have to go to the chiropractor every 3 days.
Right, dude. My family's a big chiropractor family.
Mine too, and I like the chiropractor, but
I refuse to go.
I see the merit in your theory.
But also, they have, the chiropractor that my family goes to has helped my family quite a bit. My dad has had, a lot of interesting, I'll say, back problems and stuff. Or, he pulled his hamstring one time, and it took like it did a lot more than just pull his hamstring.
Yeah.
But
yeah, back stuff is weird.
and it helped him. Like what it took a long time, but eventually like now he can walk fine, whatever. Or my brother got into a car accident and like compressed his spine, I guess. And like the chiropractor helped him like.
But does he still have to go back all the time?
No.
So
No.
maybe that's evidence against your theory.
Could be, but they like to go back. Like they're like, oh, I have like, oh, my back hurts.
So maybe the conspiracy is not they are messing you up more. It's people realize, whoa, I don't have to live in like constant small amounts of pain. Because I think we're all always in a little bit of pain that we just ignore and don't even really notice. And then when all of a sudden that's gone, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was there in the first place. And then you kind of get addicted to being pain-free.
Pain relief.
Yeah.
That could be a drug. Just kidding. It already is.
Want some of that pain relief? Yo, you got any of them pain
My
reliefs?
back hurts right now.
Yeah?
I think, I don't know. I got something going on in like my lower back where like it's pinching something.
Maybe you should go to the chiropractor.
I've thought about it, but then I'm like, no, I won't do it.
I won't do it. I
won't do it.
Live in quiet agony.
Exactly.
Protest the chiropractor.
Amen. I will.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I will, and I do. Anyway, there's a little bit of conspiracy. We've got
a bigger segment.
I have a segment I've been working on for a little bit, gathering information, doing some research.
We're doing research, you guys. It's a whole new podcast.
It'll probably last like 10 minutes. But yeah, so maybe we'll bring that up for conspiracy at some point. Okay, next question comes from Dexter's sister.
Oh boy.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know entirely.
They have the same last name.
Dexter, if Gwen is your sister, let me know. Because that is who the question is from. And this is so weird. I don't understand. But so my question was, what do you want to hear us talk about? Yep. And her response was the Roman Empire. So she reminds me a lot of Dexter.
Oh, you don't get it. You haven't seen this?
No.
Oh, I'm about to blow your mind. So
Wait,
there's this big trend right now where I don't know where it started, but girls will ask like their boyfriend or husband, or I guess any guys in their life,
okay,
how often they think about the Roman Empire.
What?
Because a lot of guys, it's like daily.
What?
What's your answer? How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Meaning what? Like how often do I think about Romans, or how often do I think about like
just in
the
any
idea
way
of a
how
Roman
often
Empire?
does the Roman Empire cross your mind in some form or fashion?
I thought about the Roman Empire today. I don't think about it daily. Probably once a week.
Yeah, my answer was at least once a week.
Yeah,
probably more most weeks. Sometimes I'm sure there's been weeks where it's been every single day.
That's weird.
But
why do we think about it?
I was thinking about it, and it's like there's so many cool things about it. One thing is, I think a lot of it is I think about church history quite a bit, you know, and that's early church, Roman Empire played a big part in that.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like the Roman soldiers had the cool hat things that looked like brushes.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. I feel like that crossed my. What really I've thought about quite a few times is like those like what are they like the water things they have. You know what I'm talking about? Like those pipes they had for getting water around.
No, I don't know what you're
talking
about.
They had like these like elevated. I want to say they're called aquifers.
That sounds familiar.
Where it was like a water slide basically.
Oh.
It was just like powered by gravity where they transport water around.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Those are cool. I thought about the Roman Empire. So today I thought about it because on the way to work, my brother was listening to a sermon that was talking about Jesus's. When Jesus says to, I believe he's preaching to a crowd, and he says like, when one person asks you to go a mile with him, go with him too. Or no, the exact quote I believe is, when someone compels you to walk a mile with them, go with them too. Mm-hmm. Because in the days of Jesus, a Roman had the authority to demand someone to carry something for 1 mile.
Right. So if you went 2, it was some weird thing where you kind of trap them, correct?
Right. Yeah. Because like basically, if you go above and beyond a demand of someone, not like a request, but a demand where you don't have a choice and you go above and beyond. Same with like if someone slaps your right cheek, offer them your left, right? It basically tells that person that your control over me means nothing to me.
Right.
And you don't have power. By giving them exactly what they ask for and more, you take away every ounce of power that they have. And so I thought about the Roman Empire because of that today. I was like, oh yeah, the Roman Empire could do that. And then I often find myself thinking about the Roman Empire when I see a pothole, because there was this meme I saw one time where it showed a picture of a street in the Roman Empire made out of cobblestone, and it says a road built in the Roman Empire over 2,000 years ago, and it still looks impeccable.
And it's got one of ours. That's like a year old.
Yeah, that's like a year old, and it's
covered in potholes.
Completely
that's
destroyed.
Funny. I also think about how just insane it was how they controlled such a large amount of land with like varying, people groups and cultures, and they managed to a certain extent, keep it all orderly and keep people under control with that larger group is pretty insane.
Yeah, it is. They had like ridiculous resources though. Yeah, I don't know. I think they had more like, this might be wrong, but did they have more than like Britain?
I don't know.
When the English were
I don't know
enough
as much about history as I'd like to.
Yeah, me neither. But
I don't know.
Yeah, so there's your answer, I guess, to the Roman Empire. I think about
it's a funny question though.
It is a funny question. I had no idea that was a thing.
I guess I
Did
think
you think
about
the Roman Empire today?
Oh yeah. I thought about that question probably every day since I heard it.
Now I'm going to be thinking about the Roman Empire every day.
You're going to think about it every day. Every single day.
I should ask my brother. I work with my brother. I should ask him how often he thinks about the Roman Empire. That would be funny. I'm not his girlfriend, though.
No, you're not.
So that would be weird if I did that. Okay. Final question.
All right, here we go.
Final question. This is one that I think we can maybe spend a little bit of time digging into.
Yeah.
It is a spiritual question.
Here we go.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to say who this one comes from, just because. It says,
going forward, if you want to, this one will stay anonymous, but if you want to remain anonymous, just say that in your question, and we won't say your name.
Yeah.
Or if we feel like it should be anonymous, we'll just leave it anonymous.
Okay, so it says, talk about people who make all Christians look bad by saying people who sin go to hell and stuff like that. So I think what he's trying to say, it's a dude. I think what the person is trying to say.
That narrows it down about halfway.
I think what he's trying to say is talk about. I mean, basically, my understanding is that he wants us to talk about Christians who oftentimes forget about like mentioning grace when they confront
or they'll say,
topics like sin.
Yeah. You'll get a lot of that with, I don't know, the stereotype of like the stuffy church person,
right.
Just like, oh, you, I don't know, did something. Now you're going to hell. That's just
right. Yeah,
and they make a false gospel of works-based salvation, where somehow they're perfect, and because of that they're going to heaven, or they don't struggle with different sins than that person does. And so they're going to heaven, this person isn't, which is obviously ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. The gospel is that we're all sinners, all fall short of the glory of God. And it's only because of his sacrifice on the cross that we have the opportunity to be with God. Right.
Actually, I know what you tried to say.
What did I say?
You said we're all sinners and we've all fallen short of the glory of God. And I only bring this up because the verse is, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Yep. And
this is something that I thought about over the summer, kind of came into like whatever my mind. But I have a strong belief that what you represent yourself as, or what you identify as, determines like a lot of how you act, right? Like you are a Christian, so
Yep.
you act like a Christian.
Sure.
Right? Or you have created who Colin is, so then you're Colin and you
Okay.
act like Colin. Right?
I see what you're saying.
If that
Like I
makes
saw
sense.
a thing that was students who lie about having good grades are more likely to have good grades in the future than those who don't.
Yeah.
So
right,
same
because
type of
you
deal. You become what you say you
what
are.
you say you are.
Yep.
Right. So like I saw this guy, I think his name is Brian or Bryce.
Cool. Doesn't matter.
I don't know his last name. Otherwise you could go follow him on Instagram. He's an evangelist. And he says, don't call yourself a sinner. Because if you've accepted Christ into your life, you're not a sinner, you're a son or a daughter. Right? Because when you accept Christ into your life, you've been adopted into the family of God. You're no longer the old person that you were. You've been made new. You've
Sure.
been reborn. Right? So even though you sin, you're not a sinner. And like, I know.
I understand what he's saying.
The rebuttal to that is like, what do you call somebody who lies? A liar. What do you call somebody who steals? A stealer. Okay? Or a thief, whatever. But the idea is that when we like when somebody asks like, who are you? Like, well, I'm just a sinner, like,
Right.
You know what I mean? The response should be like, I'm a son of God, and like I have an inheritance through Christ, like in the kingdom of heaven, and that's huge.
I agree with what you're saying in concept of,
Right.
We need to understand that once we're Christians, we aren't, our sin doesn't hold us back anymore.
Right.
We're new people, as you said. But I think a little bit of that's just like word games. Like,
Yeah.
at the same time, I am someone who sins and I'm a sinner.
Right.
And
I'm not saying that always calling yourself a sinner is a bad thing, but I do think that the words that you speak have power even when you don't recognize it, and that a lot of times it can turn into something that it shouldn't.
Right. But I guess my objection is I feel like that puts more power in what we're saying, and I think that's taking away power from what Christ has done. Because that's saying that to a certain extent, me not saying I'm a sinner is making me less of a sinner. And that's only something that God can do for me,
Fair enough. Yeah.
But again, I agree in principle, and I did misquote it. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
For all sin.
Anyway, like, so he said like people who make all Christians look bad. Oftentimes, what will happen is the people that, so I'm gonna try and make this make sense, but oftentimes people who rebuke sin in maybe a more aggressive manner are the people who get spotlights from the secular world.
Sure.
And say, look how like you guys are such bigots and you talk bad about everybody, but you say that you love people, but you don't because whatever, right?
Right.
So in a sense, I guess they can make all Christians look bad, but I think an important thing to remember is that in Christ, we're not called to look good.
Right.
Right. That's not something that is, in fact, we are told that we won't. We'll be hated by the world. Right. So we're not called to look good. So saying that a certain, and it's just untrue. Like someone can't make all Christians look bad. They can't. Right. A group of people can't like.
Right. But I think the idea is this person these people the average non-Christian isn't going to differentiate between someone with good Christian theology and someone with bad Christian
maybe
theology.
They're not, but
so they're going to lump them all together. And if in some cases, one person who claims Christianity doing something that that this person doesn't like, they're going to associate that with all Christians.
Right.
Now, obviously, we can't control that, but that's just a
and
fact.
that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, we can't control that, so it doesn't necessarily affect us. Now, I also think that there is something that we can learn from people who do that. They're very open about like scripture and what the Bible says. I don't think it's an effective witnessing tool to go out and say, hey, if you sin, you're going to hell.
Sure.
Right? I don't think that that's effective. Because I think that the way that we should witness is the way that Christ witnessed. And the way that he did is by first showing people that they're loved and then calling out their sin. Right?
Correct.
There's a process to it because we're humans and we respond.
Well, I think also,
things.
yeah, I agree with that. And something you said earlier was that these people in question are would you say aggressive with calling out sin.
Right.
And I don't think that's something we should be doing. I don't think we should be calling out the sin of the world.
Maybe not.
I think we should be truthful, and speak what's truth and not, become part of the world or what does it say, imitate its ways or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's not reasonable of us to expect people that aren't Christian to live by Christian morals.
Right.
So now I think this is the problem is the church gets it backwards a lot of times where we try and hold non-Christians to Christian morals, but then we let it slide among Christians because we are supposed to hold other Christians accountable.
Yeah.
But
to an extent.
Yeah. We should always, if we see sin in someone's life that's a Christian, we should always call it out. We shouldn't be calling out the sin of non-Christians because they're not Christians. Mm-hmm. We should be trying to get them to be Christians. And then once they're a Christian, then call out someone's sin. Right. But if someone's not a Christian, it's not your job to call out their sin.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. And like you said, like Christians are called to call each other up to a higher standard. But Paul talks a little bit about it in 1 Corinthians. The church is arguing amongst themselves in his letter. The church was arguing amongst themselves about it doesn't get into specifics, but it says like little things,
sure,
right? Petty things. And he says, don't argue about such things or don't judge each other on such things. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
About meat sacrificed or food sacrificed to idols?
No, it doesn't get into specifics about what they're talking about or what they're arguing about. But he says, don't argue with each other about such things. I think it's intentional that it doesn't get into specifics because it's not necessarily meant to be a contextual statement, right? You're not supposed to read it obviously read the Bible in context, but this statement is broad in terms of don't argue amongst yourself about little things that don't make a difference, that don't matter, right? So like, yes, we're called to call each other out on sin, but like at the end of the day, like it's not your job to judge another Christian on little things that they do.
Well, sin isn't a little thing.
Sin's not a little thing, right? But like Christ said, take the speck out of your own eye before you try to take the log out of your brother's eye, right? Because it is imperative that we deal with our own sin before dealing with other sins. And I don't think that statement by Christ was something that like he said, take the speck out of your own eye before you take the plank out of your brother's eye, or before you try to take the plank out of your other eye. We'll never be without sin.
Correct.
And we will never have the speck out of our own eye.
Correct.
Right? So I think in some regard, it's telling us to kind of mind our own business. And I'm not saying we don't call each other out.
So what are you saying then? Because if by your interpretation, that means don't call out someone else's sin until you're without sin, that would mean none of us can ever call out sin. However, the Bible is clear that we should be holding our brothers and sisters in Christ accountable.
Right.
And if they're living a lifestyle of sin, that is absolutely something we should call out and not just step back from and mind our own business about.
Right. I'm not saying that we should not call out each other's sin. What I'm saying is, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what the interpretation is.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is what Jesus said is that we need to worry about ourselves first. Mm-hmm. Okay? So a lot of times in terms of like calling out sin, that simply looks like, for example, if you're going to like call out somebody for like, let's just say like if your brother is struggling with pornography,
sure,
right, and you decide to call them out on it, you better make sure that you're not struggling with that. Otherwise, you have no place calling them out.
See, I think that's wrong because
I think
just because someone struggles with a sin doesn't mean they can't hold someone else accountable, because that's implying that someone dealing with their sin isn't good for them, or that it's like not in their best interest, So and again, nobody's without sin.
Right.
So especially with like littler things that we all do on a daily basis, like lying,
Right.
calling out someone for lying. Well, guess what? I lie too. So to say that no one can call anyone out on lying unless they stop lying altogether.
I'm speaking more in terms of like if you're a pathological liar,
right.
Don't judge someone for lying to their mom about a birthday present, right?
Sure.
Like, don't judge someone for a white lie. And I'm not saying that your issue is, in the eyes of God, more of a big deal than theirs.
Right.
But at least that's my interpretation of that parable. What's your interpretation of that parable?
Well, I think
it's when he says the speck
it's
in the
less
blank.
about calling it out and more about your attitude towards that person.
Okay.
So I think it would be wrong to hold someone as less than yourself or condemn them because of a sin, especially if it's sin that you also do, to a worse extent, or even at all. But to point out sin, I think that's something that in a perfect world, we'd all want, I'd want you to call out the sin in my life. Now, I don't like it when it happens.
Right.
But in the end, that's what's best for you.
Right.
So, and it's in my best interest for you to call out the sin in my life, even if you deal with that same sin.
Right.
Now, it's not helping anyone for you to condemn me and say, I'm better than you because I don't do this and you do,
Yeah.
So I think it's more about that.
Okay.
Would be my stance. But anyway, I guess going back to the question a little bit.
Yeah.
The Christians who deal less with who focus more on sin and calling it out among non-Christians, I think it also goes to the other extreme too. You got churches that don't talk about sin, you know, and just because you get people that like this guy's talking about that will tell non-Christians that they're going to hell for their sin, which they are, but that's not a great way, as you pointed out, to do that. And we shouldn't be, judging the sins of non-Christians because they're not Christians. We should get them to be Christians, then hold them accountable. But you also have churches that are getting people to be Christians and then not holding Christians accountable.
Yeah.
So you've got both ends of the spectrum, both of which are doing the wrong thing, and that's not focusing on the gospel. And that's what we should be doing.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good question, though.
That was a good question.
Got us on a deeper topic,
deeper tangent,
which is kind of the direction we're going with the podcast.
I'll say this, on the podcast, we're gonna talk about our opinions and our thoughts, and I want to be careful. I want to talk about scripture, and I want to talk about the things that Christ said. I do also want to be careful going forward that we don't say something and then I guess I'll just say to the listeners, do your own research on these topics.
For sure.
Especially when we start talking about faith and things of that nature, because I don't want to lead anybody astray. All I can do is talk about the experiences I've had or what I've interpreted from reading the scriptures or things like that. And if I don't know, that's all I'll say. I don't want to lead anybody astray. So if you heard something while we were just talking and you're like, whoa, I don't think that's right.
If something doesn't sit well, please
let us know or
go compare with scripture and see how that lines up, because at the end of the day, that's the only authority on God's truth.
And it's not, I say that because I've ran into myself saying things. I get on tangents and I just say stuff that sounds like scripture, and I'm like, that's not right. But
I do the same thing.
Anyway, so
the point is,
just to preface that,
take everything you hear from us and from anyone, honestly, about faith matters or any matters with a grain of salt, and do the research.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
Those are all our questions that we got.
That was a good episode. Actually,
are we done?
I don't
know how long we've been doing it.
Do
you want to check?
Let me check this. Give us 1 second.
We get going, and we just forget about everything.
Yeah, we're almost an hour in, so I think
my word.
We'll call that an episode.
Yeah, should we?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, should we do the last thing that we were going to do quick? Or
what was the thing? This thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We're bringing back an oldie.
I think it's people's favorites. We're back with Why Do People Do That? Everybody just started cheering.
Yeah,
dude.
they did.
Did
They're
you
like
hear
by
that?
themselves in their car cheering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do people do that? I'm telling you. This is our only reoccurring segment that does well.
That we've done more than like 3 times.
Yeah.
We've done
because it's good.
Times.
It's a good segment, and it's not. Anyway, so today's Why Do People Do That is something that Colin brought up to me 20 minutes ago, and we both feel passionate about it. And we're really asking, maybe even for more of just like maybe not to be mad at the people that do this, but we want explanations.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people why do people not understand? Is this better?
Why do people misuse apostrophe S?
Yeah, misuse. That's what it is. Why do people misuse apostrophe S?
Mm-hmm.
I think personally that it's because people forget grammar. I think that and this isn't to say that this is bad what's happened. I mean, in a sense, it's maybe a little bit uneducating, but I think that Gen Z is so used to text lingo.
Gen Z and millennials.
And
probably.
millennials, yeah.
And Gen X to an extent.
Maybe.
They've gotten there.
But I mean, I don't think millennials, I mean, maybe some millennials, but most millennials don't. And certainly almost no Gen Z use punctuation in their texting. Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Full punctuation?
You text me all the time. Nice
Yeah,
punctuation.
I've never noticed if you use full punctuation though.
Yeah. If I'm doing a paragraph.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yep, I do it.
But my point is that maybe they just forget.
But this isn't necessarily like a bad grammar or bad punctuation rant, because this is the worst offender. You know,
this is your worst offender. To be honest,
maybe this should have been my why do people do that?
You probably should have done it. I don't notice it that often, but I certainly don't do it. I don't misuse it.
I notice it a lot.
But I don't notice it that often.
Because there's the different versions of there, and there. There's the different versions of to. And people misuse those, but this one is way worse, I feel like.
Okay.
Or way more common. And the worst place I see it is when people are writing a year. So the 1980s, if someone wrote that. All the time, people will do 1980 apostrophe S.
Right.
That's wrong.
That's wrong when you're referring to this happened in the 1980s.
Right. If you would say...
When would you say this car belongs to the 1980s?
If you say it belonged... No, you wouldn't even say it then.
Are you sure?
If you'd say the 1980s car...
Yeah.
As though the 1980s owned that.
Right. Then it'd be
But most of the time you would say the 1980s car, you wouldn't actually be saying that. You'd just be saying that's a car from the 80s. And I don't think that would be possessive.
I think it would be.
The 1980s car. No, because if you said that's an 1980s model of car, that wouldn't be possessive.
Wouldn't it though?
I don't think it would. Regardless, a lot of times that's being said is not even situations like that. People say in the 80s we did this, and they'll do apostrophe S. I've even seen textbooks do that.
Really?
Yes.
They're wrong, dude.
And then I was like, I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but I'm going to double check because it's a textbook.
Right.
I Googled it. Sure enough, it's wrong.
Sure enough, it's wrong. Dude, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about that just gets me riled up.
What are you doing? I think the problem is...
But why do people do that?
I don't think autocorrect gets it as often as other stuff.
But that's a problem too. Why are we relying on autocorrect?
Well, because it's there.
Right.
It's a tool we have.
But it doesn't work.
Works pretty good.
You know what Apple kind of upped? I think with iOS 16 was their voice texting adds punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
That is clutch.
While we're talking about it, iOS 17, the one that came out today as we're recording this, they major upgraded their autocorrect.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we'll see if it fixes this now.
That would be so clutch.
Maybe this is a problem that doesn't exist anymore.
This episode is going to come out in 4 days and people are going to be like, yo,
what are they talking
that doesn't
about?
even happen anymore. That's how quickly stuff moves on though in today's world. Man, everything's so fast paced.
Dude, I tell you what, this world's moving and I can't keep up with it.
So quick and I can't keep up with it. The iPhone 18 just dropped. And
what iPhone are they on these days? I don't even know.
I have a 3, I think. I don't.
Tell you what, I remember when they didn't even have those things.
Anyway, so that's the question. Why do people do that? And I think we have an answer to this one. I think that there's 2 answers. Either they don't know or they don't care.
Right. I think it's a combination of both. Probably.
I think it's mostly they don't know. Because I think it takes more effort to put a punctuation than to not. Or to put an apostrophe than to not.
So they have to go in there and add it.
Yeah. How often do you think people are like, yeah, I'm so good at grammar because I do this.
I put that apostrophe in there and there.
Anyway, so
do you think maybe, okay, we'll go on a punctuation / grammar tangent for just a second.
Just a second.
It'll be quick, I promise. So the word ITS, ITS, there's a version of it with an apostrophe and
a version without. Yep.
And it's backwards of the rule the rest of the time. Because
is it?
It with an apostrophe, or it's with an apostrophe S is a contraction of it is.
Correct.
That's the only time that apostrophe S doesn't mean possessive. And the possessive version of it doesn't have
an apostrophe.
Right.
Interesting.
So maybe that is where people are getting confused.
Maybe because
that's probably the most common time you use apostrophe S. And it's backwards of the rule.
Yeah. I wonder too if people just think there's probably an apostrophe.
Well, if you type
if they don't even know that it's possessive.
If you type 1980s, it feels wrong to end
without an apostrophe.
With just an S, yeah.
Right. That's true.
So it does feel wrong. Well, I mean, it looks better. It feels better. It feels right.
It feels more right.
It feels more writer.
More writer.
That's probably what they said.
It feels more writers.
Oh,
anyway, you guys, that's the episode. Why do people do that? Yeah, as always, tell your friends about the podcast. Mm-hmm. We're growing slowly, but we are growing, which is super cool, and we're excited about it. Yeah, so tell your friends. I think I'm gonna continue to put out those polls
every episode
for a little while to see if you guys have questions, and it's just an easy way for us to talk about the things that you want to hear about.
Right. And it gets us content, and it gets stuff that we know you guys are gonna like listening to.
Right. Exactly. So it's a win-win-win.
So if you don't like the thing that was talked about, it's really your fault.
Yeah, because you didn't tell us what to talk about.
Or you asked it.
Most of the time we will talk about what you say, even if it's not a good thing.
Even if
it's not good content,
we've had a couple of those, I'll tell you, just today.
Okay. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Really appreciate you guys listening. As always, tell your friends, follow the socials to keep up to date. And
love you, bye.
Love you, bye.